guys, welcome back to my channel. So something that I have not mentioned on this channel before is my sweet love for Dragon Ball Z. It has been something that I've loved since I was a kid, and it's something that's followed me into my adulthood. And recently I watched the new and very improved Dragon Ball Broly movie, Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. It's so good, definitely recommend. And a character that I sort of fell in love with was Cheelai, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I love her so much, and I decided to make a doll of her. The doll we're going to be using is Venus Mcflytrap because she's really cute and her skin's basically the right color. First thing we got to do is cut all her hair off, so I just tied it back in a ponytail, cut it off, and since the hair was actually really awesome quality, I decided to save it for a later project. Now to pop this poor lady's head off, so I took some hot water and I let her soak inside of it for like a minute to 2 minutes, and then once her head was nice and squishy, I just popped it off. With a screwdriver, I scrape all the hair plugs out of the head, and then I get all the glue gunk out of the neck hole with needle nose pliers. She really barely had any glue in her head at all, which I kind of suspected she wouldn't have much because her hair quality, the quality of the doll's hair, was really nice. But anyway, getting this flocking off was kind of annoying, so I had to soak the head, that side of the head, with a little bit of acetone, and then I just took my needle nose pliers and scraped it. It was just a lot of scraping. To wipe her cute little face off, I used nail polish remover and a cotton ball. For some stupid reason, I wasn't looking forward to painting Venus's face mold. I'd seen pictures of it and I was just like, meh. But in person, it's actually really adorable. I'm painting her scalp white. This is basically completely unnecessary because I'm going to be gluing on wefts. You don't need to paint the scalp white if you're going to be gluing on wefts. I just didn't know because I don't have much experience gluing on wefts. For these wefts, I took some 100% acrylic white yarn and I brushed it out with a cat hair brush. I tied it to whatever this thing is. Still don't know what this thing is. I'm going to link Mcflytrap's video on how to do this down below. It's basically how I learned how to do this and how everybody learned how to do this. It's how to make wefts with yarn and glue it onto a head or glue it onto a wig cap or whatever. It's very helpful. I will link it down below. Let's talk about her part. So she, the character, has a pixie cut. So I didn't want her to have a middle part or whatever. I wanted her to have a part, I don't know what this part is called, but it's where it's all coming out of the top of your head and it's all pretty even. You guys will see what I'm talking about. But I decided to reroute that. So yeah, it ended up working out pretty well. And this doll has this character has a pixie cut. So I looked up a very long video on how to cut a pixie cut and I barely watched it, but I think that it turned out pretty okay. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm also not a hairdresser and I have no aspirations to be one, so. Let's talk about something that sucks. I had to do this doll's face 2 times. The first time, it just was just not a great experience. I was basically fighting with it for the entire day that I was repainting her face. I just was not happy with it. So I decided to take her face off and redo it. And I think that, some of you guys may be I feel like you have a lot of problems with Mr. Super Clear. I kind of do sometimes. I think that it's because a lot of the time when I was cleaning my doll's face off with acetone, I had been using baby shampoo afterwards, and I'm not sure, don't quote me, but I think baby shampoo might have some sort of oil ingredient in it, and I think that wasn't reacting well with the Mr. Super Clear. So, take 2, you guys. Spraying the doll 3 times in Mr. Super Clear, I get to work. So you guys may have notice that I'm not doing this in Akira Toriyama style. I'm not trying to like mimic that or anything. I'm trying to, you know, kind of get her like eye shape down that he gave her, but I'm trying to do it in my style. This character has pink eyes, but I really didn't have like a straight up pink color. So I kind of had to give her like pink eyes that were a little bit more peachy. And not quite the right tone of pink, but I did my best with the colors that I have. I'm defining her lid area with greens and browns. I'm starting her eyebrows with a white watercolor pencil, and it just looks like I'm doing nothing. Like it barely shows up, or I don't know if it barely shows up, or it just, I don't know, it's not working out very well. But later I'm gonna go in with a white acrylic paint and it stands out way more. I begin to shade her waterline with a dark red pencil, and I also go onto her lips and I add creases and like wrinkles in that area with that same pencil. Going in with white watercolor pencil and pastel, I highlight her brow bone, her cupid's bow, her under eye area, her nostrils, just a ton of places. I've mentioned in the past that I really like pinky blush tones on my dolls, no matter really what the color. Lately though, I've been liking like really splotchy, kind of intense red blushy tones on my dolls. I don't know why, I just like it. I feel like it looks more skin-like, I think. Here she go, adding her creepy veins. So I like veins, I like adding veins on my dolls. So I add them to the temples, the brow bone, under eyes, forehead. They're just branch-like pencil marks in those areas. Cheelai doesn't really have like freckles that I noticed, but I just thought it would add to her like kind of cute aesthetic if she had freckles, so I gave her some freckles. With black pencil and pastel, I start to outline around the eyes, and this is basically when I start adding like my final tones of definition to the doll. Black is kind of like my final step of shading. At this point, I came to realize that I was just really loving how her face was turning out. I just felt like it was such an improvement from my super negative experience the last time I did her face up. She also gets the triangular bottom lashes that I've been really digging lately. I begin to emphasize certain areas with watercolor paint. So for example, like the lashes, I go over them with black watercolor paint. And then the eyebrows, since they is really not showing up, I went in and I just sketched on some eyebrow hair, or painted on some eyebrow hair with my white watercolor pencil. For the catch lights on the eyes, I used a combination of paint and gel pen. I don't really know why I grabbed the gel pen. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend this because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it reacts weirdly with varnish, so. This is how she looks, and I think that it is such an improvement since the last face up I gave her, and I'm gonna show you guys a side by side. If you guys feel like a face up that you did just isn't up to your standards, don't be scared to take it off. With how long dolls take to repaint, I think it's definitely worth it. With Vallejo's gloss varnish, I put some gloss on her lips. I eventually put gloss on her eyes, but it's really hard to photograph gloss on the eyes, so I do that after I'm done taking photos. Now onto the body. So as per usual, I am scraping off the seam lines with a utility knife, and then I am sanding off the panties with some sandpaper, and then we are blushing the body with basically the same tones that I used on the face, so greens, browns, pinks, things like that. Now for one of my very most favorite parts, I put her head back on her body. To get the pattern for her outfit, I basically modified some patterns that I already had and sort of just like eyeballed it a little bit, and this is what I got. In retrospect, this outfit probably would have looked a little better if I had just sewn the doll into it because of how tight it was, but I don't really like doing that. Like, I like to have the doll's outfit be removable. Now to paper mache her some shoes. This is actually I made like 3 pairs of shoes for this doll. They're all the same shoes. I just was kind of making them better each time, although they end up looking kind of crappy. But yeah, the first time I used saran wrap, I would actually recommend using tinfoil. It just is easier to like remove the shoes and stuff, and like put them on and put them off with tinfoil underneath the paper mache. Now onto epoxy sculpt. I don't know, I don't quite know how to use this stuff. I'm not great at using it, but I'm trying. But we're gonna make her some stuff. So it's a 2-part mixture. You mix it together, equal parts. And I am making her like chest armor thing. It's green. And also her scouter, the soles of her shoes, and her belt buckle. Everyone recommends using gloves while you use epoxy sculpt, but honestly, like how? Like how do you sculpt with gloves on? Please enlighten me. I don't know how to do that. Like it's hard enough to sculpt without gloves on for me, so wearing gloves just is seemingly kind of impossible. This plastic thing is actually doll packaging. I like cut it or whatever. It's going to be the screen of her scouter. I wanted to make it colored, like red, green, blue, whatever, but I don't have any colored plastic, and I don't know how to color plastic. Like, you could probably dye it, but I don't have any dye, and I don't know where you get dye in Kuwait. Now onto her socks and her gloves. So I basically made a tube around her leg and her arms, and then I sewed her leg and her arms into the tube, and then I flipped the tube, and that's how I made her gloves and her socks. Back onto the nightmare that is these boots. I took some fabric glue and I draped fabric on top of the fabric glue that I put down, and I cut the excess from there. Now we're gonna be making these soles for the nightmare that is these boots. So I just took epoxy sculpt again. I wrapped saran wrap around the boots that I have, and I made like a pancake of epoxy sculpt, and I pressed it to the shoes, and just to get like the form of the sole, and then we sanded everything once everything was dry. I painted her little like chest armor green, and then I went over the shoes, like the white of the shoes and the green of the shoes, with acrylic paint. And I painted the soles of the shoes gray. I painted the scouter white. What else did I paint? Oh, I painted her belt buckle. I painted that gray, and I put metallic silver paint on top of it. I'm mentioning this now because I'm not sure if there's footage of all that. Her hands get painted white because she has white gloves on. Her belt is just a black piece of ribbon that I sewed some fasteners to, and then I took the fabric glue and I put a little dot of it in the middle, and then I put my belt buckle on top. Oh, super glue, we meet again. So I super glued a needle onto her scouter so that I can stick it into her head. And I also took the plastic doll packaging of the screen and I super glued that to the scouter. These are her shoes. They turned out not the greatest, but they look kind of like her shoes. And by the way, everything that I made out of epoxy sculpt, I took matte varnish or glossy varnish and I put them on each thing that I painted. This is all the stuff that I made for her, so let's just put it on her and get to the finished doll. Here she is, my Dragon Ball Super Cheelai lady. I think she's so cute. I'm so happy that I made a Dragon Ball doll. I don't know if has anybody ever made a Dragon Ball doll on YouTube? I made a Dragon Ball doll on YouTube. I love Dragon Ball Z. I want to do more short hair dolls. Her little pixie cut is so stinking cute. I want to do more Dragon Ball dolls, do a Goku doll. Who would I even use, honestly, like to do like a Goku or like a Broly doll? Oh my god, Vegeta, his hair. What would that even look like? Anyway, if you guys liked her, let me know. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe, makes me happy. Oh, if you guys want me to make more like character dolls. This is my first character doll. I've never done a character. Most of my dolls are just like, I'm just gonna put pretty shit on a doll. And that's the inspiration. So yeah, if you guys want to see more like characters, anime characters, whatever, I probably won't make them in an anime style, but I'll recreate them like this. And yeah, like this video if you like this video, subscribe, it makes me happy, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Bye!